So welcome you all for this course managing big data. So this is managing big data. We will be discussing the topics as per our syllabus, concerned with our syllabus. So managing big data. So the first topic is why big data, or what is big data. That will be the first thing. So what is why we want to learn big data and what does the term big data mean. So before getting into that, let us discuss about what is called data and few more technology related to it, and then let us get back to what is called big data. So initially we call data. So data is some information. So information which will be calling it as data. So earlier the data is gathered in forms of paper, and then it has been migrated to electronic media, and now we are processing all the things in terms of digital media. So once we collect the data, so what we are going to do from that data, that is what the thing that we are going to do. So in this I want to relate one more term called computing. Since our syllabus we have two topics called volunteer computing, grid computing, and what is the use of those computing technologies. See, if I talk about a term distributed computing, so before that I should explain you what is called distributed. So if I call about a distributed, I mean the resources will be get shared on a network on multiple nodes. A resource will be get distributed across the network on the number of nodes. That is what I call as distributed. So a distributed file system. So what I call as a distributed file system is where files will be get distributed across on multiple cluster of nodes. So it is called distributed file system. So in this distributed file system, we use the next one we call it as a distributed computing, where the resources will be get across the entire network, or that is what distributed computing. So here we have a term called grid computing. So grid computing is use of widely distributed computing resources to reach some common goal, where you will be using or designing something within our system to mission and to do these kind of things. And in this volunteer computing is where volunteer, I mean a people or a volunteer, a people or a company which are providing their own resources for other projects to be get completed, or which are providing their own resources to do the projects in a distributed manner. I can call a grid computing is a subset of distributed computing, and this volunteer computing is as same volunteer people. I mean people are a mission which people are providing resources for to do projects, to complete the projects at a time. That is called volunteer computing and grid computing. And data. So if I talk about a data, the set of information, a piece of information. So what I'm going to do from that piece of information, if I have my right information, I make my correct information, then my things will be almost a little bit clear, right? So I will be writing one more thing called I will be taking one thing called, so one I will be talking about DFS, distributed file system, and second I will be talking about grid computing, and third will be volunteer computing. And now let's see the next term called data. So if I talk about data, so we have multiple things in data, right? What kind of data I am collecting, and where I am collecting the data, and what I want to do from that data, that is the other thing. So if I talk about a data can be structured, unstructured, or semi-structured. So mostly the data which we use in the last, I mean when the previous years are structured data. I mean structured data is simple database. What you write, how do you do with the database management system? The data will be having a proper schema. The data will be clearly defined with proper attributes, and the data will be of proper valid type. If I talk about data of integer, I mean roll number, it will be holding only integers. You can't see that some name in that data field. If I talk about data field attribute name, I can see all the user names in this particular field. I can't find, respect all the respective data will be get placed according to the respective data type. That is database. I mean structured data. So a semi-structured data, it is a combination of structured and unstructured data. If you take something and if you get whatever that is but done using XML. So these are examples of semi-structured data. Unstructured data, it is purely unstructured, where there will not be any proper schema on a data which we are using, Once if I browse something in Google, I can find the data in the form of image, text, video. In some cases, I can see some kind of redirecting browsers and links everything. So this is unstructured data. So day by day the data is getting large. I can say when you are collecting the data from social media like Facebook, Twitter, in like past before 10-15 years back, the data size is little bit less when comparing to today's present data size. And if you take the present today's database size, like for example database, it is little, if the data collecting from Facebook, it is more than petabytes, and the data collecting from hospital medical industries, it is getting n number of size, the size is getting large. So how I'm going to going to do some kind of useful things from that data set. I mean, like if I collect the data from Facebook or from Twitter or from medical healthcare, what I'm going to do from it, what kind of analysis I'm going to do on it, and what is that analytics is like examining the data with some proper tool. I mean, like with proper some tool or algorithm, and finding out the things happening, what can be done from this. That is what the term big data. So big data is the huge amount of data that is being generated day by day, that is called big data. That is what big data includes, data sets with sizes beyond capability of things. So it is where the data coming from, like Facebook, Twitter, Google. So mostly it is like Google, and how many as I told you, it is crossing more than petabytes, but it is terabytes of data. So you can see these are the places where you're getting. This is not only the place where you're getting from data, it is more. For example, if you take Amazon, so earlier when Amazon was emerging, so I mean like the data which Amazon is generating now, it is not little bit, now it is more heavy. For example, and earlier when Amazon was there is no personal recommender system in an Amazon, but now we have personal recommender system in Amazon. So it will trace the activities of each and every user. That I mean like whatever the customer or user is request, I mean the item which he is looking for, and the next time when he is getting into a browser, even not same to Amazon website, you can see the advertisements that it is recommending what kind of item you are what kind of item that you are earlier looking for. All those items will be made, I mean like some kind of marketing will be done through this recommender system. So this is one small example of this where data comes from. So this is what I told you, like categories of big data: structured, semi-structured, unstructured. So analytics, as I told you, analytics, what is that we are going to do is we will be trying to find out some uncover hidden patterns from it. Can be from variety of sources and unknown correlations and other useful information. And in this, if you want to do some kind of analytics on structured data, it is quite simple. I don't want to search for many other complicated tools or algorithms. I can use SQL and I can do it. And here we have two more things called descriptive analytics, predictive analytics. So let me tell you what is called descriptive, what is called predictive, and one more thing we have called prescriptive analytics. See, descriptive analytics, it is some kind of description which provides you information about something what happened in the past. Like I can call it as like a summary of the statistics. So what it has been done over there. So what has happened. So the giving information about that is called descriptive analytics, like a dashboard or like a graph representation. So these are examples for descriptive analytics. And predictive analytics, what kind of prediction I'm going to do with the predictive algorithm. I mean, in this area we will be using n number of data mining algorithms, big data algorithms for prediction, like prediction of heart disease, or prediction of students result, or a prediction of career of a student, or a prediction of health, or prediction of causes of finding of diseases. All these examples, like a prediction of rainfall. I mean, like at present we are talking about the COVID-19, right? So prediction of coronavirus in India, or prediction of coronavirus in Bangalore. So these are examples for predictive analytics. And one more thing I wanted to tell about is called prescriptive analytics. So prescriptive is something like studying. So by studying it and coming out with something. For example, the best example is Google self-driven car. So it analyzes the environment and then decides the direction to take based on the data. Once first we will be analyzing it, then we will be deciding what kind of action can be taken, and further what it can be done. That is called prescriptive analytics, right? So once if we talk about these three analytics, like predictive, prescriptive, descriptive, and one more thing I want to talk about is called characteristics of big data. So here if you can see two diagrams, like one is having 3 circles and this is having 5 columns. Earlier when big data was emerged, at the time period there was 3 V's of big data. So at the time period there was 3 V's of big data. So it is earlier, So it is the earlier one. So earlier one we have three ways. One, first V stands for volume. Volume like the size. I mean like volume is the size of the data that which we are getting, and velocity, the speed at which the data is arriving. Third, variety. So these are the three things: variety, structure, and something. And later on, I mean like later on, two more V's were being added to this. One is called veracity. So veracity is something like telling you about the ambiguity. I mean like what it is, the data is value, is the data is having a proper value, or it is some kind of noise data or missing data, some misinformation, or some data which is irrelevant to that particular field. All these are examples for veracity. And the last V is called value. How far the data is being valuable for us, what does that we can do with the value, either, or we can we come out with some any business analytics. See, business analytics, data analytics, all these are all umbrella set of all these can be get placed under a single umbrella. Like if you talk about a business analytics, so business analytics will be telling you, I mean like what kind of action can be taken after doing a data analysis, after doing an analysis. That is what business analytics will be doing. And now we have a term called business intelligence. So transforming the data into valuable to come out with a good profit in business. So business is act of doing something, which will in turn which will make you to earn money, as well as to be have a position in the business market, right? So for these things we will be using this sort of data analytics. So this is the characteristics of big data, 5 E's of big data. And why big data? So what is the need of having big data? As I told you, like big data is connected with artificial intelligence, and it is also connected with machine learning. So if you take as umbrella, these are 5 core areas like business, I mean big data, artificial intelligence, machine learning, business intelligence, and data science. So these are core, I mean like these are 5 core areas which is playing a major role in the present industry market. So one, like understanding targeting customers. If you take as like retail store, so you can treat both in offline and online. So offline you can talk about Walmart, DMart. If in Bangalore you can take a better example, DMart, Big Bazaar. All these are like offline. And online I can process the same thing through Amazon, and n number of pantry stores are there to process the same thing online. So treat that if we have a retail store which is functioning both at online and offline, the one thing what I can do is, if it is once it is being online, I mean like the building, the cost of establishing a building, and the customers are employing customers for my company, that will be a little bit more. If I'm doing it in online, I don't want those kind of things. I just can have a good one. But one thing I need is, I need some business. I mean like I need people to make the data item to be good. I mean like sales people that we require in doing this. And the other thing is like, so once if we talk about a customer can be a customer, I mean all the customers will not be looking for a same item, right? Few will be looking for some item, few will be looking for some item. And this I can call like if you take in if I mean like you can look into some items will be get widely sold. I mean like some items will be moving faster in certain place, and some items will be the same item may be moving very slow in some other place. So it is also one kind of thing I want to find out. And seasonal items, I mean like you can see some items will be sold occasionally. If you take into like some other cool items we should not be getting sold in the period of like December, January. And if you take some fruits and some kind of seasonal fruits like watermelon, these kind of things will be very popular in the months of like April, May. So it is also one set of things. Similarly you can relate all the other things. So in which way I can target my customer to use my product. And in this I can relate one more example called churn management. Churn management is where some more than 50% or nearly like a number of, I mean like some more number of stakeholders, I mean more number of people will be moving from one business to other business. Like initially when Geno was emerging into telecom market, it has provided free of cost. So I mean like it has attracted more than 50% of people from the other networks. That is called churn management, where bulk people will be get migrated from one network to other network, right? So once later on what they have done is, now they are charging charging money for the data that which they have provided free of cost in the earlier, right? Second, understanding and optimizing how the business process can be get optimized in a technical manner. I mean, how it can be emerged, what kind of marketing can be done, and how to find out which business will be yielding good results in the market. So all these things will be examples for understanding and optimizing business process. So these are the few things. I mean, I just want to explain through this big data. So so these are the few things, and some cases I can talk about weather forecast, all these kind of things. So personal quantification and performance optimization. So if I talk about personal quantification, performance optimization, so this big data is not only meant for a company or a company or a huge organization or a small scale company. It is also meant for even human being, like people's like us. Say we use some smart watches, smart bracelets. So these are few examples. I can how we can make how we can make the technology to improve as our environmental level, or to improve as our culture. And second thing, performance optimization, you can see nowadays we have technology has evolved in the major change. We can have some tools for prediction of diseases at the earliest, and some tools can be get used for some tools can be get used to find some kind of defects in our body. So these are these things. Now improving healthcare and public health. So this is a major part where this big data is playing a huge role. If you look into hospitals or medical industries, so hospitals maintain health records of each and every patient. So from a patient, from outpatient to a patient to a patient who is taking treatment for a number of days for operations and all these kind of stuffs. And once if you look, all the reports will be get stored in online. That is called wellness system. All the data, patient reports will be get stored in online. So whenever the data is being required by the doctor, they can access it and they can come out with a summary of the test which is being done. And also now we have a number of algorithms for a prediction of this kind of health related disease, prediction of skin cancer, how this can be get treated, all these kind of things. So improving sports performance, we use video analytics to track the performance of every player in football or even a baseball game. And we apply sensors in sports equipment like basketballs, and we use many kind of other technology, smartphones on our games, and we are improving all our sports performances. And next one, so improving science and research. In this, I just want to make one example, like a CERN. I know, European Organization for Nuclear Research. They have, they are one of the most, one of the world's largest and most powerful particle accelerator mission in their research organization. So this is a data center which has 65,000 processors to analyze 30 petabytes of data. And also we have a number of computing resources even in India, IBM is using IBM is using most computing technologies. Now they have IBM server, and the supercomputing is widely used in this kind of technologies. So optimizing machine and device performance. If we use this data analytics is helping widely in even in Ola. The best example is Ola cabs, and also Google self-driving cars, and also it is helping, and also it is improving the smart data meters. Nowadays electricity it is being now transferring into smart data meters. I can get electricity and everything into my market. This is widely used in apartments. So improving security and law enforcement. It is helping policies. Police forces use big data tools to catch criminals and even predict criminal activity. And credit card companies use big data to use it to predict to detect fraudulent transactions. And improving optimizing cities and countries. The best example is smart city, smart railways. So these are best examples for this. These are the best examples for this. And next one is financial trading. Here big data algorithms are used to make trading decisions, and today we can see that majority of equity trading now takes place via data algorithms that increasingly take into account signals from social networks and media and split into seconds. So this is why we require big data in the present scenario or in the present trend. So we have discussed about what is called unstructured big data, and let us quickly look into implementing unstructured data management. So unstructured data management. So let us see like what are the big data tools. So most probably as we talk, and I hope you remember one Pareto principle called 80-20. I mean like 80% of business comes from 20% of customers, and similarly like 90% of data, I mean like the data which we collect, 80% of data is unstructured, 20% of data is structured. That is what the historical data set is conveying. And if I talk about big data analytics, 90% of big data is unstructured data, and analyzing this unstructured big data is quite complicated. So like we have some main number of big data tools. The well-known tool that is played a major role is Hadoop. We shall be discussing that in a later period of time at the end of module 1. And next, business intelligence softwares. Like this is the softwares one, like an example, I can make a simple example is a dashboard. So if you see a dashboard, you can see, I mean like you can if once if you enroll for a course, like enroll for an online course like NPTEL, Swim, Coursera, edX, it can be of anything. You can see the progress of your course. I mean like the progress means like the day in which your course has started, and how much percentage as of now you have completed, and still how much percentage is left. Have you done any certification on it? Have you submitted assignments or not? And it will be also reminding you about the next things to be done. So BA is BA analytic tools are like data mining tools, dashboard reporting tools. So these are BA tools, and few data integration tools, and also like a document management systems, which is also called enterprise content management systems, and information management solutions, and search and indexing tools. So these are few things. And next we'll be shifting into the next topic called web analytics. See, web analytics is a measurement, collection, analysis and reporting of web data for the purpose of understanding, optimizing web usage. How far the web is being widely utilized in an efficient manner. Once if we talk about a data analytics, it is also going to analyze the data which is taken from web sources. So web sources is now, I mean like at the present the n number of data are being generated from online through internet like social media and these sort of sites. So if we talk about this web analytics, it is not a tool, but it helps us to measure it helps us to measure business and market research, and also it helps us to improve the effectiveness of a website. So like there are few reasons why we there are few web analytic metrics, like we use web analytics for to find out number of pages. I mean like you can see in some websites, you can see how many number of persons have visited that particular website, and how many people are repeated visitors, how many people are new visitors, and you can track the transactions, time duration, session duration. All these can be done. So all these will be coming under this web analytics, right? So web analytics is incredibly valuable. Web analytic tools are good at delivering the standard reports that are common across business platforms. And here if you look into it, why we use big data tools to analyze web analytics data. See, web data is incredibly valuable. It tells how your customers actually behave, and how that varies between different customers, and how far the same customers over time. I mean like how the same journey of the same customer is being over there, and also it tells you how customers engage with with you via your website or web application, and how that varies with the different versions of your product and with other companies, other organizations. And also like it derive value from web analytics data, how often it involves very bespoke analytics, I mean like which is designed particularly for a specific customer, or basically which is being designed for few sort of customers. So this is something like a bank, a newspaper, social network, analytics application. So these uses this sort of thing. And for each type of business you would expect different types of events with the different types of associated data. Like web analytic tools are good at delivering the standard reports that are common across business types. So where your traffic comes from, for example sessions by marketing campaign or sessions by landing page. So understanding the events common across business types like a page views, transactions, and capturing conceptual data common people browsing the web like timestamps, web page data, browser data. So all these sort of things. And you can see a picture representing Snowplow. So Snowplow is used to address those limited whatever the implement that we are discussing now. It is a tool which is which can be used. I mean like which is open source tool, which is an enterprise event level analysis platform. So which enables data collection from multiple platforms for advanced data analytics. So it works most better for telemetry data. So which helps you to process all those sorts of data. If you look into it, you can see like from web internet we are collecting this data pipeline. So Snowplow is a data lane. It captures data, validates, loads, and it could do some kind of analysis using something called Qball. See, Qball is something. It is also again it is an open source like Qball. So it what it is doing is it stores and secure data. It is a safe and secure data lake platform for data streaming, underdog analysis for underdog analytics. So it is a one kind of tool. I mean, it is one kind of tool which is helping us to do, or I mean which helps across the different data types, which helps across different data businesses. So this is about web analytics and big data and marketing. See, if you take your textbook, I mean in the textbook you can see there some survey will be there. I mean some company called responses, what they have provided about this, and what the CEO has given a brief talk about this, and why it is required. All those things will be there, right? So big data and the marketing. See, marketing is the first and foremost important thing to sell a product. And once if you have a brand, once if you brand and marketing, you can sell a product which is of valuable of worth of rupees 10 rupees can be get sold at 10 lakhs. So it is also just up to the marketing. It is a marketing strategy. So once without a proper marketing proper marketing strategy, we can't make sure that our business will be get growing. So in what way we can make the marketing trends to be done? Earlier it was done through TV and commercial markets, posters, newspapers, and nowadays it is widely done with Facebook, WhatsApp, and also using other apps and mobile media, newspaper, TV. So, and I mean it has entirely become digital power channels like email, mobile, social display, and the web. So it is where this marketing is getting emerging a lot. Consumers have changed, must marketers also have to change. And in this today's today's consumers is more dynamic, and they're informed about unpredictable than ever. When I approach a customer, today's everything is business. So the business marketers deciding each and every people what they want to do from the beginning of the day until the ending of the day. So what are the products they use, and it is also gets sold through the marketing. So marketers should collect all these data profile based on consumers, including channel response and preference data, and area of influence and more. So this will be helping them to make the things to be get satisfied according to their preferences. And here there is one approach called cross-channel lifecycle marketing. So this cross-channel lifecycle marketing, I think you have this diagram, right? So what this can be doing is, what this is supposed to do is, this improves the marketing strategy. For example, if you go into look diagram, first there is acquisition, and next it is called connection, and next relationship conversion. Once you look into it, you can see that first acquisition, what is that acquisition is doing? It is collecting the data. This acquisition is collecting the data from a group of people. I'm collecting the group of set of customers. That is what acquisition. So it is collecting customer information system. And next, once if I done it, and next what I'm doing is I'm doing a conversion. A lifecycle marketing approaching is conversion. I'm transferring the data into make such a way it can be get useful for the marketing people. It can be useful for a company to advertise or to sell an item. Next, what I'm doing is I'm giving permission. I'm just re-permitting it items. So it is over the process. This process getting worked, moving from this to this, and moving from making the item to be get sold in a wider end of market. And how can I sell the market? And here there is one more term called affiliate marketing. So it is a process of earning some commission by promoting other people products or promoting other company products. It is what affiliate marketing. And Amazon has a role. Amazon is providing an opportunity called Amazon affiliate, where Amazon will be allowing you to promote their items through your website, so that you will be getting a commission over it. And even Tupperware is doing this, right? So this is called affiliate marketing. And the concept of affiliate marketing or pay or performance marketing as the internet is often credited. How we can get money and how we can process these things. So empowering marketing with social intelligence. So with social intelligence I can make money from it. So this is we require some kind of very intelligent software is required to define things like sentiment of a post, and doing sentiment analysis, doing doing social sentiment network analysis. So this is one sort of application of this is one application of this big data analytics in this particular media. And marketers have the opportunity to mine social conversations. No, marketers have an opportunity to mine social conversations, and also they also suggest us to buy their own products. That is what empowering with social intelligence and fraud and big data. So it is one of the most important thing, fraud and big data. So like fraud is something in which which someone is doing intentionally to gain access of other thing. It can be money, it can be a property, or it can be some other thing which one individual is chasing over the another individual. And the example which they are talking about is called Capgemini Financial Services. So what they are doing? See, like once if you talk about this. Once I talk about this, talk about this fraud and big data. The use of big data and fraud. And most fraud things are two things. One is the well known is credit card, which you will know. Second, one is credit card. One is risk with credit card. So even though a number of fraud detection techniques is being introduced, but the chances of getting fraud is getting widely a little bit more through net banking, and now they've started hacking the things through mobile smartphones and online social media. So this what they have done is the Capgemini, they are doing some kind of some kind of projects on this, like in producing a system or in preventing a fraud. Credit transactions are monitored and checked in real time, and they hope that they believe that due to the nature of data streams processing required, so big data technology provide an optimal technology solution based on three ways. One is high volume, high velocity, high variety. Like customer records and transactions year by year, it is getting more, from day by day. So we need the velocity, speed, the data, the speed at which data is increasing also a little bit large. So variety, so most of it is unstructured data. How for this Capgemini is handling this particular thing? So that case study has given to discuss. Let us look into it. See, in this diagram, if you look into it, it is where the data sources data is being collected. Customer profile, transaction data, customer email, all the things are data, and it is being fed into Elasticsearch Indexer. See, what is this Elasticsearch Indexer will be doing is, for example, so this Elasticsearch Indexer is a technique. So this Elasticsearch, the Capgemini they used a weapon called Elasticsearch. So it is a distributed open source search server based on Apache Lucene. So this is based on Apache Lucene, and this uses this things to get processed. And what is that it is doing is, for example, if you look into it, next it is passing the data into. It works in a distributed fashion. Elasticsearch works in a distributed fashion. Next, you look at it, it moves the data into per collocator query. It is called per collocator query. What does it mean is, it allows us to match a document with queries stored in an index. What it is doing, for example. So if I'm trying to access the data, if you want to get the details about a textbook, either I can access the data, either I can access the textbook details with the author name, or with the publisher details, or with the year of publish, or with the title of the textbook. It can be anything. Even I can combine two things and I can go for searching. Right? I can have an index. With an index I can go for searching over it. So once it is done, it will be just moving on to listeners. So from there, Capgemini fraud detection algorithm is applied. So it detects, a chance of detection of chances of finding out all with the base of historical pattern, chance of this will be get detected. And now if there is any suspicious activity is found, it will be get updated into database. Again, it will be getting into this Elasticsearch query. So it is where it is occurring. So percolator system for incrementally processing updates to large data set. So this percolator query can handle both structured and unstructured data. And as we told about this Capgemini fraud detection algorithm, it is also using another approach to solve fraud with big data is social network analysis. It is called SNA, right? So these are the few things about this fraud and big data. This fraud and big data. And next one is called risk and big data. So what I call as risk is something which is occurring unexpectedly. Uncertainty. I can't expect this is what will be happening in the next time period. That is what risk. So most of the world top analytics professionals work in risk management, right? So this I told a term called business intelligence, right? So if you are doing something with the business intelligence, data driven decision, not with thinking and doing, a data driven decision will always make you to this to come overcome from risk. I mean, like once if you're getting at the strike with some items, it will helping you to overcome from it. So if you're having a proper business intelligence or a process, a proper decision making tool, it does not mean that things always will be going on right. So it will be helping you to stay from wrong. That is what it is doing. And the two common type of risk are credit risk management, market risk management. The third one is operational risk management. So these are the three types of risk management. And then this the most important thing is credit risk management. So it is also talks about once if you apply for a bank loan, you can see that your credit report will be generated, right? So how the credit report is being generated, what are the factors involved in it, and how a bank is providing a loan for a person, and what are the chances for their credit to customer to get a credit card. Once you get a credit card, what are the what are chances, how the credit card can be get used. So how the hacking can be get how the hacking or how someone else can make use of this credit card, someone can misuse of their credit card. So all these things will be about relating to this. And market risk management is market risk analysis, which focus on understanding the likelihood that the value of portfolio will decrease or increase due to the change in stock prices. So predicting about the changes in prediction of changes in stock and bond prices, like moratorium and gold, all these things will be like risk and big data. So credit risk management system. So credit risk management system is a critical function that spans a diversity of business across a wide range of industries. So traditionally, this credit risk management was rooted to minimize the losses. So this credit risk professionals are stakeholders in key decisions that address all aspects of a business, from finding new and profitable customers, and which maintains and grows relationship with existing customers. So when as a business grows, the manual and judgment process of making credit decisions is a more challengeable one, which gives more structured and increases automated process. This has to be a data driven basis, which should not be based on the other things. So from an existing customer standpoint, it should be like account management will be made, and how to retain profitable accounts, and how I can invest money on it, and how I can do some kind of things on it. I can see a diagram like this. So customer acquisition, I will be collecting customer acquisition, how I manage this information. So planning, account management, regulatory, so promoting this. So this is what this, and the next one is called big data and algorithmic trading. See, algorithmic trading is which relies on mathematics to determine buy and sell. Where things nowadays, once you talk about everything, it all deals with the value. It will be having a threshold, it will be having a lesser value, it will be having a higher value, it will be having a prediction factor, it will be having a factor and value. So each and everything we talk about will be having some kind of factor and values in processing this. So it does a key component of algorithmic trading is determining return and risk of each potential trade, and then making a decision to be sell or buy an item. Right, the crunching through complex interrelated data. Just now I told you crunching. Here what it is talking about is one thing is called intraday risk evaluation. Intraday risk evaluation is whatever the data is being combined on the same day, which will be get made sold at the same day. So calculating both this from the start and beginning to end of a day. So this risk management is on a daily basis. It is a thing of the past, because there are some the risk of this is little bit higher. And intraday risk analytics. So intraday risk analytics, a constant flow of big data. So to maintain competitive advantage, banks, what they do is they need to continuously evaluate their models, including the performance of the production models, and also continuously they should try to build new models to incorporate new variables with new and evolving macroeconomic conditions in a faster manner. And they will be trying to overcome from this kind of problems, right? So this scenario analysis will be getting done even with now. Then they have started and assessing, analyzing with in terms of even seconds, and calculating risk in marketing. So what are the risk in marketing? Using marketing strategy, if I'm doing a product, you have to determine what are the right products to promote. I can't promote a product which is not having a proper value, a proper which can't be made sold in the market at a proper way. So I can't go for those things. When the bank scores its customers and prospect credit card solicitor, how a product, how a credit card marketing can be done, how the other things marketing can also be done. So what other industries benefit from financial services, and what is the risk experience of that, telecommunication, retail, media. You can talk about a TRB, right? So big data analytics, So marketing is an area that is clearly more mature in terms of adopting analytics. For example, in retail forecasting, we use a key area where analytics is being applied. Customer churn analysis, that is what we have discussed. The insurance industry, what insurance company is doing. And the foremost important thing is big data and advances in healthcare. So big data and advances in healthcare. So that is the foremost important thing. And what does big data technology is being used. So this we shall be continuing in the next class. So big data advances in healthcare. Thank you.